The giant ship appeared in Earth's sky without warning. It was bigger than anything humans had ever built, dark and shaped like a sharp blade. Smaller ships flew around it like insects around a queen. Dr. Jiwoo Kim stood at the window of Earth's Space Command Center, her hands shaking slightly. As director of Earth's Unified Space Command, she had trained for many things, but first contact with aliens was not one of them, not like this. "How many ships?" she asked, her voice steady despite her fear. General Do-Hyun Park, head of Earth's Defense Forces, looked up from his screens. "Main vessel is about 2 kilometers long. We count 30 smaller craft. They're holding position just beyond the moon." "Any communication?" As if in answer, every screen in the command center flickered. The face that appeared was almost human, but wrong in subtle ways. The skin was too smooth, the eyes too large and completely black. When it spoke, its mouth moved strangely. "People of Earth, I am Admiral Taiho of the NIGMA Imperial Fleet. Your world has been chosen to join our glorious empire." Dr. Jiwoo stepped forward. "This is Dr. Jiwoo Kim of Earth. We welcome peaceful contact with other civilizations." The alien's face showed no emotion. "Peace is available to those who serve. The NIGMA Empire spans 200 star systems. We have conquered 1,000 worlds. You will submit and become our newest colony." General Do-Hyun's face darkened. "And if we refuse? Then you will be destroyed. It is very simple." The command center fell silent. Dr. Jiwoo exchanged glances. With General Do-Hyun, they had discussed this possibility in theory, but facing it now made her stomach twist. "We request a meeting," she said finally, "to discuss terms." Admiral Taiho's black eyes seemed to study her. "Granted, you may bring 3 representatives to our ship. We will send transport in 6 hours." The screen went dark. "You can't seriously be considering going up there," said General Do-Hyun. "It's clearly a trap." Dr. Jiwoo turned to face the room full of Earth's brightest minds. "Do we have a choice? We need time. We need to know what we're facing." The NIGMA transport ship was sleek and silent. Inside, Dr. Jiwoo sat with General Do-Hyun and Dr. Jong, Earth's leading xenobiologist. Armed guards stood at each door, their weapons unlike anything humans had seen before. "Their technology is at least 200 years ahead of ours," whispered Dr. Jong, looking at the glowing panels that seemed to float in midair. "Maybe more," replied Dr. Jiwoo. She felt the weight of humanity's future on her shoulders. The main ship was enormous inside. They walked through corridors that seemed to go on forever, passing aliens of different shapes and sizes. Some looked almost human, others were completely different. All moved with purpose, many wearing what appeared to be military uniforms. They were led to a large room with a round table. Admiral Taiho sat waiting, flanked by 2 other aliens. One was tall and thin with pale blue skin. The other was shorter, with 4 arms and skin that changed colors as they watched. "Welcome to the NIGMA Imperial Fleet," said Admiral Taiho. "This is Commander Jiho, our military strategist, and Soo-Hyun, our diplomatic expert." Dr. Jiwoo introduced her team, and they sat down. The seats adjusted to fit their bodies perfectly. "Let us be direct," said Admiral Taiho. "Your planet has resources we need. Your people will serve our empire. In return, you will receive protection and limited access to our technology." General Do-Hyun leaned forward. "And what exactly does service mean?" "The blue alien, Commander." Jiho spoke, his voice oddly musical. "You will provide workers, warriors, and whatever else the Empire requires. Some of your people will be relocated to other worlds where labor is needed." "Slaves," said General Do-Hyun. "You're talking about slavery." The 4-armed alien, Soo-Hyun, changed color from green to yellow. "A crude term. We prefer subjects, or citizens of the lower order. It is the way of the galaxy. The strong rule, the weak serve." Dr. Jiwoo kept her voice calm. "We understand your empire is powerful, but humans don't surrender easily. We value our freedom above all else." "Freedom is an illusion," said Admiral Taiho. "Look at your own world, divided into nations, ruled by those with power. We simply offer a more honest system. We offer peaceful trade instead, said Dr. Jiwoo. We have unique resources, art, culture. We could be valuable allies rather than subjects. Admiral Taiho's face showed the first hint of emotion, amusement. You misunderstand. This is not a negotiation. It is an opportunity for you to surrender with dignity. General Do-yoon couldn't contain himself any longer. If you force this, we will fight. Humans have a long history of resisting invaders. The babe. 3 aliens exchanged glances, then all began to make a strange noise. It took Dr. Jiwoo a moment to realize they were laughing. Your species has barely left its cradle, said Admiral Taiho. You still fight among yourselves. Your weapons are primitive. Your ships can barely reach your own moon. What threat could you possibly pose to an empire that has ruled for 10,000 years? Dr. Jiwoo felt a cold anger rising in her chest. There's something you should know about humans, Admiral. Throughout our history, we've faced enemies who thought they were unstoppable. Romans, Mongols, Nazis, empires who thought they would rule forever. They're all gone now. Is that a threat, Dr. Jiwoo? Asked Commander Jiho, his skin darkening. No, she replied quietly. It's a warning. We prefer peace. We really do. But when cornered, humans become something else. Something you wouldn't recognize. Admiral Taiho stood up. You have 1 month to prepare your world for integration into the NIGMA Empire. After that, we begin the process with or without your cooperation. As the humans were escorted back to the transport ship, Commander Jiho approached Admiral Taiho. Should we be concerned? They seemed unusually confident for a primitive species. Admiral Taiho dismissed the thought with a wave. They are trying to appear strong. It is a common tactic among lesser races. Their planet has never known unified governance. They will fight among themselves more than they will fight us. Aboard the transport ship, Dr. Jiwoo sat in silence. General Do-yoon watched her face carefully. What are you thinking? He asked. I'm thinking they didn't listen, she replied. Not really. They heard our words but didn't understand their meaning. Back at Earth's Space Command Center, Dr. Jiwoo called an emergency meeting with world leaders. For the first time in human history, every nation agreed on a course of action without debate. As the meeting ended, General Do-hyun approached Dr. Jiwoo. What now? Dr. Jiwoo looked at the screens, showing the alien fleet in orbit. Her face was calm, but her eyes burned with determination. Now we show them why they should have taken our warning seriously, she said. Activate the Phoenix Protocol. General Do-hyun nodded grimly. God help us all. In the dark of space, the NIGMA ships waited, their crews confident in their superiority, unaware that below them, humanity was preparing to become something terrible. Something that would bring an empire to its knees in just 7 months. 1 month passed faster than anyone expected. Earth had been busy but not busy enough. The lunar colonies home to 10,000 people were just starting evacuation when the NIGMA ships attacked. From Earth, people watched in horror as bright flashes lit up the moon's surface. The communications from the colonies stopped one by one. Some managed to launch escape pods. Most did not. In the Unified Space Command Center, Dr. Jiwoo watched the numbers of survivors drop on her screen. Her face showed no emotion, but her hands were clenched so tight her knuckles turned white. They didn't even warn us, said Dr. Jung, tears running down his face. They just attacked. General Do-hyun stood beside them, his face like stone. It was a message to show us what they can do. The door opened and President Yoona walked in. She had been elected just 2 years ago, the youngest president in history. Now she carried the weight of humanity's survival on her shoulders. How bad? She asked. 8,000 dead, replied Dr. Jiwoo. Maybe more. We're still counting survivors. President Yoona closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them, they were hard as diamonds. Broadcast the emergency address in 1 hour. I want every human on Earth to hear what I have to say. 1 hour later, every screen on Earth showed President Yoona's face. She wore no makeup. Her eyes were red from crying, but her voice was strong. "People of Earth," she began. "Today we have witnessed an act of war. The NIGMA Empire has attacked our lunar colonies without warning or mercy. Thousands of innocent people are dead." She paused, looking straight into the camera. "We tried peace. They chose war. Now they will learn what humans do when cornered." Around the world, people watched in silence. In homes, in schools, in public squares, billions of eyes were fixed on their screens. From this moment, Earth is at war. Every resource, every mind, every hand will work toward one goal: survival. The Phoenix Protocol is now in full effect. Few knew what the Phoenix Protocol was. It had been created in secret after scientists first detected possible alien signals 10 years ago. It was a plan for the worst case: hostile alien contact. 2. Our enemies watching this broadcast, President Yuna continued, "I have only this to say. You have made a terrible mistake. You believe us weak because we value peace. You will learn that the most dangerous creature in any forest is the one fighting for its home." Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a facility that didn't officially exist, Dr. Hyunwoo Lee worked without sleep. Around him, 100 of Earth's best scientists did the same. They had been here since the day the NIGMA ships first appeared. "How long until the prototype is ready?" asked General Do-hyun, who had just arrived from the command center. Dr. Hyunwoo looked up from his workstation. Dark circles ringed his eyes. 2 days. Maybe less now that we don't have to be so careful. Before the attack, they had been developing the technology slowly, testing each step twice. Now speed mattered more than safety. "What about the reverse engineering team?" asked the general. "Come see," said Dr. Hyunwoo. They walked through heavily guarded doors to another section of the underground complex. Here, scientists worked on pieces of alien technology. Some had been collected from space over the years. Others had been secretly taken during the visit to the NIGMA ship. Dr. Hyunwoo pointed to a small device on a table. This was in Admiral Taeho's room. "We think it's a communication device. If we can crack it, we might be able to listen to their plans." General Do-hyun nodded. "Good. We'll need every advantage." Just then his phone beeped. He looked at the message and his eyes widened. "They found something on Europa. We need to move fast." Commander Minju looked at the strange structure through her ship's view screen. It was hidden on Jupiter's moon Europa, built into the ice. Her team had discovered it by analyzing the communication patterns of the NIGMA ships. "It looks like a forward base," she said to her team. "Probably here to monitor our system before the main fleet arrived." Her ship, the ESS Phantom, was the first of its kind. Built in secret using technology that would have been considered too dangerous in peacetime. It was small, fast, and nearly impossible to detect. "Are you sure they can't see us?" asked Lieutenant Huno, her second-in-command. "No," she admitted, "but we're about to find out." Commander Minju had been chosen to lead this mission because she understood risk. Before joining the space program, she had been a mountain climber, famous for attempting climbs others called impossible. "All teams in position," reported Lieutenant Junho. Commander Minju took a deep breath. This would be humanity's first attack against the NIGMA Empire. If they failed, Earth might never get another chance. "Begin the operation," she ordered. 3. Ships, all using the same stealth technology as the Phantom, moved into position around the NIGMA base. They had practiced this mission 100 times in simulation, but this was real. If they died here, they would be the first human casualties in an interstellar war. "Weapons hot," said Lieutenant Junho. "Ready to fire on your command." Commander Minju looked at the alien structure one more time. "They believe we're primitive," she told her crew. "That misconception ends today." Fire. The human ships fired in perfect sync. Beams of concentrated energy struck the NIGMA base from 3 directions at once. The ice of Europa cracked and melted as the base exploded from within. "Direct hit," reported Lieutenant Junho. "Base is destroyed." "Landing teams, go now," ordered Commander Minju. Small pods launched from the human ships, heading toward what remained of the NIGMA base. They had minutes at most before NIGMA ships responded to the attack. Team 1 has breached the base, came the report. Collecting technology and data. Commander Minju watched the timer on her screen. 3 minutes, until extraction. On Europa's surface, human soldiers in spacesuits moved quickly through the ruins of the alien base. They grabbed everything they could carry: weapons, devices, data storage. Team 2 reports, NIGMA survivors, said Lieutenant Junho. 3 aliens captured. Commander Minju hadn't expected prisoners. This complicated things. Bring them. 2 minutes to extraction. The landing teams returned to their pods just as alarms sounded throughout the Phantom. NIGMA ships approaching, reported the sensor officer. 3 minutes until they're in range. All teams aboard? Asked Commander Minju. All teams accounted. 4 prisoners secure. Then let's not be here when they arrive, she said. Take us home. The human ships vanished into space moments before the NIGMA reinforcements arrived. By the time the aliens realized what had happened, the Phantom and her sister ships were already halfway to Earth, carrying with them valuable technology, data, and 3 very surprised NIGMA prisoners. In the command center on Earth, Dr. Jiwoo received the news with a small smile. First blood to humanity, she said quietly. General Do-hyun nodded. It's a start, but the real war is just beginning. In orbit around Earth, Admiral Taeho received reports of the attack with disbelief. How had the humans found the Europa base? How had they destroyed it so easily? Perhaps these primitives deserved more attention than he had thought. Increase our forces in the system, he ordered. The humans have surprised us once. It will not happen again. He didn't know that Commander Minju's attack was just the first move in a plan that would bring his empire to its knees in just 7 months. 3 months had passed since first contact. 3 months of fighting, learning, and changing. Earth was different now. Cities had moved underground. Factories worked day and night. Children learned to run to shelters when sirens sounded. In the sea, Grand Meeting Hall of the NIGMA Imperial Fleet, Governor Sunwoo stood before the flickering images of the Imperial Council. His hands shook slightly. Delivering bad news to the Council was dangerous. The humans continued to resist, he reported. They destroyed another supply ship yesterday. The largest image, Emperor Taewon himself leaned forward. How? They are primitives. Their technology was centuries behind ours. Governor Sunwoo swallowed hard. They are adapting quickly. They take our technology and understand it. Sometimes they improve it. Impossible, said another council member. No species has ever learned so fast. I have sent the reports, said Governor Sunwoo. See for yourself. They captured 3 of our bases last week alone. They disappear before we can catch them. The Emperor's eyes narrowed. You are making excuses for failure. No, highest one, said Governor Sunwoo quickly. I am explaining why we need more ships, more soldiers. The humans fight differently than other species we have conquered. The council members spoke among themselves. Finally, the Emperor nodded. Very well. We will send Grand Admiral Kyung-hwan with our newest fleet. He has never failed to crush a rebellion. Governor Sunwoo bowed low. Thank you, highest one. As the meeting ended, he wiped sweat from his forehead. He had survived for now, but if the Grand Admiral failed too, they would all pay the price. On Earth, Engineer Ji-hee worked in a lab deep underground. Around her were pieces of alien technology taken from captured NIGMA ships. She had been a university student when the aliens came. Now she was leading a team trying to understand NIGMA faster-than-light communication. Look at this, she said to Dr. Jiwoo, who had come to check on her progress. She pointed to a strange crystal in a metal case. This is how they talk between stars. It uses quantum entanglement. Dr. Jiwoo looked impressed. Can we use it? Better, said Engineer Jay with a tired smile. We can break it. If we create a disruption field with the right frequency, we could block their communications. Dr. Jiwoo's eyes widened. That would change everything. Their ships couldn't coordinate attacks. Exactly, said Engineer Jia. We need to test it, but I think it will work. Just then, General Do-yoon entered the lab. His uniform was wrinkled. He hadn't slept in days. We've got new information, he said. The NIGMA are sending their best commander, someone called Grand Admiral Kyung-hwan. He's bringing a new fleet. Dr. Ji-woo frowned. How do we know this? General Do-hyun's face showed a rare smile. Our spy sent a message. Agent Nari moved silently through the corridors of the NIGMA flagship. She wore the plain clothes of a servant. The aliens barely looked at her. To them, all humans looked alike. She had been placed on the ship a month ago, one of 20 human spies sent to infiltrate the NIGMA fleet. Most had been caught. Some had died. But Nari had survived by being invisible. Today she was cleaning the command center. As she worked, she listened carefully to the officers talking. Her translator implant, hidden in her ear, converted their words to Korean. The Grand Admiral arrives tomorrow, said one officer. He brings the new Deathbringer ships. Good, said another. These humans are annoying. They fight like insects. Dangerous insects, said the first. They destroyed the Europa base too easily. Agent Nari kept her face blank as she worked. Inside, her mind raced. This was important information. Earth needed to know about these new ships. Later, in her tiny sleeping space, she took out what looked like a normal tooth. It was actually a quantum transmitter, based on technology taken from the Europa base. She tapped it 3 times and whispered her report. Miles away, in orbit around Mars, a hidden human receiver picked up her message. In the war room beneath, what used to be New York City, Earth's leaders met to discuss the new threat. These Deathbringer ships are planet killers, said General Do-yoon. If they reach Earth, they could destroy our entire civilization. Commander Min-ju, now in charge of Earth's growing space fleet, studied the holographic map. We need to hit them before they get here. A direct attack would be suicide, said Admiral Dong-hae, an old naval commander who now led Earth's defense forces. Even with our new ships, we're still outgunned. President Yuna, looking older than her years, turned to Dr. Hyun-woo. What about your project? Is it ready? Dr. Hyun-woo hesitated. The Thanatos protocol is working, but we haven't tested it fully. Using it now would be a big risk. Bigger than letting those Deathbringer ships reach Earth? Asked General Do-hyun. The room fell silent. Dr. Ji-woo spoke up. There might be another way. Engineer Ji-hye has developed a way to disrupt their communications. If we combine that with a small attack force, we could create confusion in their fleet, finished Commander Min-ju. Hit them where they don't expect us. It's still very dangerous, said Admiral Dong-hae. President Yuna looked at each face around the table. Every option is dangerous now, but we need to do something. She turned to Commander Min-ju. Plan the mission. Take only volunteers. Commander Min-ju nodded. I already have a team in mind. Grand Admiral Kyung-hwan stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Emperor's Fist. It was the largest warship in the NIGMA fleet, nearly 5 kilometers long. Around it flew 100 smaller ships, including 10 of the new Deathbringers. Status report, he ordered. All ships in formation, Grand Admiral, reported an officer. We will reach Earth space in 3 days. Kyung-hwan nodded. He had studied the reports of the human resistance carefully. Unlike Governor Sun-woo, he did not underestimate them. That's why he had brought such overwhelming force. Send a message to Earth's leaders, he ordered. Tell them this is their final chance to surrender. After that, we will destroy their major cities one by one. As the message was sent, a servant girl cleaned quietly in the corner of the bridge. No one noticed the small smile on her face as she listened. Back on Earth, Commander Min-ju briefed her team. 20 ships, the best Earth had built, 200 of Earth's bravest pilots. This is a volunteer mission, she told them. I won't lie to you. Many of us won't come back. No one spoke. No one left. The plan is simple, she continued. We hit their communication systems first. Then we target their main power cores. Engineer Ji-hye has identified their weak points. She showed them images taken from Agent Nari's transmissions. Our goal isn't to destroy their entire fleet. That's impossible right now. We just need to hurt them badly enough that they reconsider their attack on Earth. Lieutenant Junho raised his hand. What about Agent Nari? Won't this put her in danger? Commander. Minju's face grew serious. She knows the risks. She'll try to escape during the confusion, but she didn't need to finish. Everyone understood. As the meeting ended, Dr. Jiwoo pulled Commander Minju aside. If this doesn't work, she said quietly, we'll have no choice but to use the Thanatos Protocol. Commander Minju nodded grimly. Then let's make sure this works. In space, the massive NIGMA fleet moved steadily toward Earth, led by a commander who had never known defeat. They had no idea that humanity was about to change the rules of warfare in ways they couldn't imagine. The human fleet looked tiny next to the massive NIGMA armada. Commander Minju's 20 ships were like small fish facing a school of sharks. From her captain's chair on the Phantom, she watched the enemy fleet grow larger on the view screen. All ships report ready, said Lieutenant Junho. His voice was steady, but his hands gripped the control panel tightly. Commander Minju nodded. Send the signal to Agent Nari. Tell her to be ready. The message was sent using the quantum transmitter, impossible for the NIGMA to detect. Now all they could do was wait and hope their spy was still alive. Remember, Commander Minju told her crew, we only need to create enough confusion to plant the disruptors. We're not trying to win a direct battle. Deep inside the NIGMA flagship, Agent Nari received the signal. 5 minutes until the attack began. She slipped away from her cleaning duties and moved toward the engine room. In her pocket was a small device engineer Jihye had created. It looked simple, but it contained some of Earth's most advanced technology. On the bridge of the Emperor's Fist, Grand Admiral Kyung-hwan watched the small human fleet with interest. They are either brave or stupid, he said. Perhaps both. Shall we destroy them? Asked his second-in-command. The Grand Admiral shook his head. Not yet. I want to see what they're planning. No species would send such a small force against us without a reason. Commander Minju checked the time. Agent Nari should be in position by now. Begin Operation Chaos, she ordered. The human ships suddenly split into 3 groups, moving in different directions at high speed. The NIGMA fleet, expecting a direct attack, hesitated. What are they doing? Demanded Grand Admiral Kyung-hwan. Before anyone could answer, the lights on the bridge flickered. Then communications went dead. Report, shouted the Grand Admiral. Internal systems failure, an officer yelled. We're losing power in sections 5 through 9. Communications are down across the fleet. In the engine room, Agent Nari pressed the final button on her device. A small light turned green, showing it was working. The NIGMA engineers ran around in confusion as systems shut down one by one. The human attack had begun. Dr. Hyunwoo watched the battle from Earth. Screens showed the positions of all ships, with NIGMA vessels in red and human ships in blue. The red dots were moving in random patterns, no longer working together. The disruption is working, he said to Dr. Jiwoo. Their ships can't communicate with each other. Dr. Jiwoo nodded, her face tense. But for how long? And is it enough? They watched as the human ships darted in and out of the confused NIGMA fleet, firing precisely at weak points, then moving away before the aliens could respond. Commander Minju is a genius, said General Do-hyun, who had just entered the room. Look how she's using their size against them. The big ships can't turn fast enough to catch her. But even as he spoke, some of the blue dots on the screen began to disappear. The human ships were taking heavy damage. We're losing too many, said Dr. Jiwoo softly. The disruption isn't enough. Dr. Hyunwoo looked at her, then at the general. They all knew what this meant. I'll prepare the Thanatos Protocol, said Dr. Hyunwoo. But we need someone to deliver it directly to their main network. Commander Minju will have to do it, said General Do-hyun, if she can reach the flagship. They watched the battle continue, hope mixed with fear in their hearts. On the Phantom, Commander Minju received the new orders with a grim face. They want us to do what? Asked Lieutenant Junho when she told him. Deliver the Thanatos virus directly to the flagship's central computer, she repeated. It's the only way to make sure it spreads to their entire network. Lieutenant Junho looked around at their damaged ship and tired crew. How many ships do we have left? 7, said Commander Minju. Out of 20. And how do we get into the flagship? Their shields are still up. Commander Minju pointed to a spot on the map. Agent Nari has given us the location of a maintenance airlock. It's small, but we can dock there if their shields are down, even for a moment. That's a suicide mission, said Lieutenant Junho quietly. Commander, Minju didn't disagree. I'm going alone, the rest of you will create a distraction. No way, said Lieutenant Junho. I'm coming with you. After a moment, she nodded. Fine, but only you. The others need to get home. Grand Admiral Kyung-hwan was furious. Half his fleet was in chaos, unable to receive orders. The human ships were small and fast, hitting critical systems and then running away. Get the shields back to full power, he shouted, and find out what's causing the communication problems. An officer ran onto the bridge. Grand Admiral, we've caught a human spy. In the engine room, she had some kind of device. Bring her to me, ordered Kyung-hwan. Minutes later, Agent Nari was dragged onto the bridge. Her face was bruised, but her eyes were defiant. So, said the Grand Admiral, looking down at her. This is your doing? Impressive for a primitive. Warned you, said Agent Nari. We told you not to underestimate humans. The Grand Admiral smiled coldly. Your brave effort will fail. Even with some of our ships disabled, we still outnumber you greatly. Your people will be crushed. Agent Nari smiled back. Look outside, Admiral. Confused, Kyung-hwan turned to the view screen. A small human ship was approaching the flagship at impossible speed. Shields, he shouted. Shoot it down. Shields are still resetting, sir, an officer called back. Weapons. Targeting now. But it was too late. The human ship, the Phantom, crashed into the side of the flagship. Not a direct hit to cause maximum damage, but a precise strike at a specific point. The maintenance airlock. Commander Minju and Lieutenant Junho were thrown forward as the Phantom docked with a violent crash. Alarms blared throughout their ship. Hull, breach in sections 3 and 4, reported the computer. Life support failing. Seal off those sections, ordered Commander Minju. Everyone else, get to the escape pods, head back to the Venus station. She and Lieutenant Junho put on spacesuits and grabbed their weapons. Each carried a small device containing the Thanatos virus. Ready? She asked. He nodded. Born ready. They forced open the damaged airlock and entered the NIGMA flagship. On Earth, Dr. Hyunwoo explained the Thanatos protocol to President Yuna and the other leaders. It's a virus that targets their biomechanical systems, he said. The NIGMA use living technology, machines that are part organic. The virus turns their own systems against them. Will it kill them? Asked President Yuna. No, said Dr. Hyunwoo. It disables their technology but doesn't harm living beings directly. It's not designed to be lethal, just crippling. And if Commander Minju succeeds? Asked General Do-hyun. Then the virus will spread through their entire network, said Dr. Hyunwoo. Every NIGMA ship, every base, every system connected to their main command. It could affect their entire empire. The room fell silent as they considered what this meant. Commander Minju and Lieutenant Junho moved through the huge ship, following the map Agent Nari had provided. Twice they had to hide from NIGMA soldiers. Once they had to fight. But they kept moving toward the central computer core. Almost there, whispered Commander Minju. 2 more levels down. Lieutenant Junho checked their oxygen levels. 20 minutes left. We need to hurry. They reached the computer core just as alarms began to sound throughout the ship. Someone had discovered them. Cover me, said Commander Minju. She ran to the main console and connected the device carrying the Thanatos virus. Lieutenant Junho fired at NIGMA soldiers entering the room. Hurry, he shouted. We've got company. The virus began uploading. A progress bar moved slowly across the screen. More NIGMA soldiers appeared. Lieutenant Junho was hit in the arm but kept firing. Almost done, called Commander Minju. Just a few more seconds. The progress bar reached 100%. Upload complete, said the computer voice. Just then, the doors opened again. Grand Admiral Kyung-hwan himself walked in, holding Agent Nari by the arm. Behind him were a dozen elite guards. Stop them, he ordered. Whatever they're doing, stop them. But it was too late. The virus was already spreading through the system. Lights flickered, doors opened and closed randomly. The ship's computer spoke in strange broken sentences. "What have you done?" demanded Kyung-hwan, staring at Commander Minju in disbelief. She stood tall despite her exhaustion. "We've done what we promised. We warned you not to underestimate humans." As if in answer, the ship shuddered violently. Throughout the NIGMA fleet, the same thing was happening. Their advanced technology, their greatest strength, was turning against them. Grand Admiral Kyung-hwan, watching his mighty fleet disintegrate, faced Commander Minju in person. "What are you?" he asked in disbelief. "We are human," she replied. "We warned you." The Thanatos virus spread faster than anyone had expected. From the Grand Admiral's flagship, it jumped to every connected ship in the fleet. From there, it traveled through the NIGMA's faster-than-light communication network to distant stars and planets. Within days, the mighty NIGMA empire began to fall apart. Ships lost control of their weapons and engines. Defense systems shut down. Communication networks collapsed. The virus didn't destroy the technology, but it made it impossible to control. On Earth, Dr. Ji-woo watched the reports come in with a mixture of relief and disbelief. "It worked better than we hoped," she said to Dr. Hyunwoo. "The virus has reached over 80% of their territory already." Dr. Hyunwoo nodded, dark circles under his eyes. He hadn't slept in 3 days. The NIGMA made a critical mistake. Their entire empire runs on the same system. They never imagined anyone could turn it against them. President Yuna entered the room, followed by General Do-hyun. Both looked exhausted but determined. "What's the status of Commander Minju and her team?" asked the president. General Do-hyun's face darkened. "We lost contact after they deployed the virus. The NIGMA flagship is drifting in space. We don't know if anyone survived." The room fell silent for a moment. "And the rest of the NIGMA fleet?" asked President Yuna. "In chaos," said Dr. Ji-woo. "Some ships are trying to retreat. Others are just floating in space. Their weapons and engines aren't working properly." "This is our chance," said General Do-hyun. "We should strike now while they're weak." President Yuna shook her head. "No, we've done enough damage. Now we try a different approach." She turned to Dr. Ji-woo. "Contact all the species that were under NIGMA control. Tell them what happened. Offer them friendship." Dr. Ji-woo raised her eyebrows. "You want to make allies?" "Yes," said President Yuna firmly. "The NIGMA ruled through fear. We'll build something better through cooperation." 2 weeks later, in a room hastily prepared for alien visitors, Dr. Ji-woo met with representatives from 12 different species. Some looked almost human. Others were completely different. Beings made of crystal, gas clouds contained in mechanical suits, creatures with too many limbs or eyes. "Thank you for coming," said Dr. Ji-woo. "We have much to discuss." Engineer Jahye sat beside her, operating a new translation device she had built using NIGMA technology. It allowed everyone in the room to understand each other. "The humans claim they want peace," said a tall, blue-skinned being. "But they brought down the NIGMA empire with a terrible weapon. Why should we trust them?" "A fair question," admitted Dr. Ji-woo. "We created the virus because we had no choice. The NIGMA would have destroyed our world. But notice that we designed it to disable, not kill. And now we're offering to help fix what was broken." "Help how?" asked another alien, this one looking like a large insect. Engineer Jae-hee spoke up. "We can modify the Thanatos virus to repair instead of disable. We can help rebuild the communication and transportation networks that connected your worlds, but without NIGMA control." The representatives talked among themselves. Finally, the blue-skinned one spoke again. "Some of us have been under NIGMA rule for thousands of years. We've forgotten how to govern ourselves, how to be free. We can help with that too, said Dr. Jiwoo. Not by ruling you, but by working together as equals. It was the beginning of something new, a galactic covenant that would replace the NIGMA Empire. On the damaged NIGMA flagship, Commander Minju woke up in what looked like a medical bay. Lieutenant Junho sat beside her bed, his arm in a bandage. "Welcome back," he said with a smile. "You've been asleep for 3 days." Commander Minju tried to sit up, wincing at the pain in her side. "What happened? Where are we?" "Still on the flagship," said Lieutenant Junho. "But things have changed. The virus worked better than anyone expected. The NIGMA Empire is falling apart." A door opened and Agent Nari walked in, followed by a familiar figure, Grand Admiral Kyung-hwan himself. Commander Minju reached for a weapon that wasn't there. "It's okay," said Agent Nari quickly. "He's not here to fight." The Grand Admiral looked different. His uniform was gone, replaced by simple clothing. The arrogance in his eyes had been replaced by something else, respect, maybe even humility. "I came to talk," he said. "Your virus has spread throughout our empire. Our ships are useless, our weapons don't work. In 7 months you've done what no species has done in 10,000 years. "We warned you," said Commander Minju. "We told you not to underestimate humans." "Yes," agreed the Grand Admiral. "You did. And now I must ask, what happens next? Will you destroy us completely?" Commander Minju shook her head. "That's not our way. We fought because we had to, not because we wanted to. Now we want peace." The Grand Admiral looked surprised. "Peace? After what we did to your moon colonies?" "Justice, yes," said Commander Minju. "Those responsible should face consequences, but not revenge, not destruction." "I don't understand," admitted the Grand Admiral. "That's why you lost," said Commander Minju simply. 1 month later, President Yuna addressed the newly formed United Galactic Assembly. Representatives from over 50 species, including the NIGMA, had gathered in a space station orbiting Earth. "We stand at a crossroads," she said. "For too long, the galaxy lived under the rule of an empire that valued power above all else. Today, we begin a new chapter, one based on cooperation, respect, and freedom." In the audience, Dr. Jiwoo sat with Engineer Ji-hee and Dr. Hyunwoo. General Do-hyun and Commander Minju were there too, in new uniforms that represented Earth's diplomatic corps rather than its military. "Humanity did not want this war," continued President Yuna. "We would have preferred peace. But when forced to fight, we fought. Not just for ourselves, but for all species oppressed by the NIGMA Empire." The final battle had taken place at the NIGMA homeworld. The Imperial Palace, standing for over 10,000 years, had surrendered without a fight when the virus disabled all its defenses. Emperor Taewon had given up his throne and now sat in the assembly as just another representative. "Today, we signed the Galactic Covenant," said President Yuna, "a promise between free worlds to help each other, to respect each other's independence, and to ensure that no empire will ever again rule through fear." One by one, representatives came forward to sign the document. The NIGMA were among them, now just one species among many. Later, at a reception celebrating the new covenant, General Do-hyun stood before a memorial to those lost in the conflict. Names from the lunar colonies were listed alongside those who died in the space battles. A young officer approached him. "Sir, may I ask you a question?" "Of course," said General Do-hyun. "How did we do it? How did we defeat an empire that had conquered 1,000 worlds?" General Do-hyun smiled sadly. "Because they gave us no choice. And throughout history, that has always been humanity's most dangerous state of being." In a quiet corner of the reception, Dr. Jiwoo spoke with a NIGMA historian named Soo-jin, who had opposed the war from the beginning. "Will you record what happened?" asked Dr. Jiwoo. "The truth of it?" "Yes," promised Soo-jin. "Future generations should know this story. How the NIGMA Empire fell because it could not imagine being defeated by a species it thought was primitive." "And the lesson?" asked Dr. Jiwoo. Sujin looked across the room at the humans and aliens talking together. Former enemies now working to build something new. Never underestimate those who warn you before they fight, said Sujin. They're giving you a chance to avoid the coming storm. Across the stars, the message was spreading to other advanced civilizations. Beware the humans. They are not weak. They simply prefer peace. But when war is forced upon them, they transform into something terrifying. The NIGMA Empire learned too late. They did not heed the warning. Earth looked to the stars now with new eyes, not in fear but in hope. The galaxy was larger and more wonderful than they had ever imagined. And humanity had found its place among the stars, not as conquerors like the NIGMA, but as builders of a better future for all. The NIGMA Empire was gone, destroyed in just 7 months by a species they had fatally underestimated. All because they hadn't listened to a simple warning. The end.